Hi, my name is Emily, and I am in Reading 301 with Dr. Miller, and I have decided to read The Duchess of Whimsy by Randall de Seve. The Duchess of Whimsy, an absolutely delicious fairy tale. The Duchess of Whimsy was known throughout the land for her extravagant soirees, her elaborate attire, her uncommon conversation, and her most peculiar pets and acquaintances. To the Duchess, the Earl of Norm was as normal as they come. He wore ordinary clothes, walked an ordinary dog, and discussed with great seriousness ordinary things: the kingdom's rutted roads, the manor's nesting birds, and the rain or lack thereof, even if nobody was listening. The Duchess was the life of the party. The Earl was, well, let's just say that merrymaking carried on in spite of him. Why was the Earl even invited to the Duchess's soirees? Because her father, the king, made her invite him. Their kingdom needed to be friends, and because the Earl loved the Duchess. He loved her lively stories. He loved her wild apparel. Simply put, he loved her joie de vivre. The Earl of Norm went to absurd lengths to impress the Duchess of Whimsy. One evening he took to her party a giraffe borrowed from the royal zoo. It ate the foliage off all the ladies' hats and had a go at the drawing room wallpaper before the manor's pest control staff stepped in. The Earl of Norm composed sugary poetry comparing the Duchess to a squid, a platypus, and a penguin, and recited it before astounded audiences of giggling guests. The Earl even went so far as to arrive one evening in a brightly brocaded cape, borrowed from his flamboyant twin brother Nigel. It did not suit him at all. The Duchess of Whimsy could not bear the Earl's silly attempts to win her attention. "Still too ordinary," she said to her father. "Our kingdoms need to be friends," said the king. One evening the Duchess of Whimsy invited her usual guests for supper, when suddenly the cook took ill. Panic reigned. What were they all to eat? Out came the cookbooks, out came the chef hats, out came the giant bowls and spoons, and everyone swung into action. The Marquis of Charisma made truffle canapes, but first she had to sniff out truffles in the forest. With a pig. The Shah of Huzzah made a watercress salad with pickled quail eggs, but first he had to find the quail and snatch its eggs. The Duke of Dreams made a velvet midnight cake, topped with an entire galaxy of sponge sugar stars. But first he had to learn how to spin sugar. The Earl of Norm had no knack for cooking, and by now no desire to try, so he whipped up the only thing he knew how, a grilled cheese sandwich and a glass of milk, and sat down quietly to eat. "Figures," thought the Duchess, but then she took another look at his plate. His sandwich looked so scrumptious, his milk looked so refreshing. How could something so ordinary look so good? The Earl noticed the Duchess staring at his sandwich, and of course he offered her a bite. For a moment she studied the sandwich, its gold and crusty bread, its glistening melted cheese. Then, without further delay, she took a bite. It was delicious! It was delectable! It was divine! Then, while her other guests were still toiling away in the kitchen, the Duchess of Whimsy and the Earl of Norm got to talking. It turned out the Earl could actually tell a good joke. He liked bright colors and was eager to learn how to wear them. His dog he had even bravely rescued from a traveling circus. It turned out that the Duchess liked quiet walks in the woods and sitting by the frog pond alone at twilight. She especially liked to hear spring peepers sing. Once the Earl got to know the Duchess, he liked her even more. Once the Duchess got to know the Earl, she rather liked him too. Together that night, the Earl and the Duchess enjoyed the sumptuous feast finally laid out before their exhausted guests. And forever after, they spent their evenings together, enjoying each other. It turned out that the Duchess of Whimsy and the Earl of Norm found each other to be simply extraordinary. The dedication says it's for the original Duchess of Whimsy and Earl of Norm. With love, R and P.